Great Pyrenees versus the Tibetan Mastiff. Which one is the better guardian? Most people compare these two dogs because they're both massive guardian breeds, but they are not the same dog. They don't guard the same way, they don't think the same way, and they don't fit the same farms. A Great Pyrenees is a herd-integrated guardian. A Tibetan Mastiff is a territorial enforcer. If you choose based on size alone, you'll miss the difference that actually matters, and that difference shows up when predators test your land. The Great Pyrenees developed in the mountains between France and Spain. Their job was simple but demanding. Live with sheep, stay with sheep, protect sheep. They weren't guarding castles, they weren't guarding estates. They were living inside flocks for months at a time. Their instinct is to embed, to become part of the herd's rhythm. They move when goats move. They sleep where goats sleep. They absorb herd behavior. Protection comes from integration. The Tibetan Mastiff developed in the Himalayas. They guarded monasteries, compounds, property perimeters, and livestock too. But their core instinct is territorial enforcement. They guard boundaries first. They see space as something to own. They don't naturally embed in livestock the way Pyrenees do. They guard what enters. That difference changes everything on a goat farm. A Great Pyrenees protects from the inside out. A Tibetan Mastiff protects from the outside in. Pyrenees live amongst goats, control herd compression, bark early to deter, and move slowly and deliberately. Tibetan Mastiffs prefer boundary awareness, hold elevated positions, engage more decisively, and lean heavier into property protection. If goats free range widely, Pyrenees typically integrate more smoothly. If you want a powerful boundary presence around a fixed property, Tibetan Mastiff energy can dominate space. Pyrenees are famously patient. They escalate slowly. They prefer to warn. They rely on presence and repetition to deter predators. Tibetan Mastiffs are more intense. They are deeply suspicious. They can be less tolerant of strangers, and without strong leadership, they can become overly territorial. That's not a flaw, it's a genetic design. But design must match environment. On goat farms, bonding matters more than power. A Pyrenees will often lie directly in the herd. Goats learn to move around it naturally. Kids climb on it. It becomes a stable, emotional anchor. A Tibetan Mastiff can bond to livestock well, but it may maintain more spatial separation. That slight distance can change how goats cluster, and herd compression affects predator confidence. Against coyotes, Pyrenees rely heavily on audible deterrence. They bark early. They signal territory loudly. They reduce testing through repetition. Tibetan Mastiffs may not bark as constantly, but when they engage hard. If predators push boundary, a Mastiff may escalate faster. Different styles, different psychology. This is important. Pyrenees are independent, but generally more forgiving for new livestock owners. Tibetan Mastiffs are powerful, dominant, and require confident handling. On small acreage near neighbors, Pyrenees barking can be frustrating, but Mastiff territorial intensity can create even bigger issues. Neither is better, but one may fit your situation better. Both breeds are heavily coated. Both prefer cooler climates, but Pyrenees lines in North America are widely adapted to farm environments. Tibetan Mastiffs can struggle in hot, humid climates without careful management, and they are less commonly used strictly as livestock guardians compared to Pyrenees in U.S. farm systems. Availability matters too. This isn't about strength, it's about structure. Ask yourself, do my goats need embedded protection or boundary enforcement? Is my land open pasture or defined property? Am I prepared to handle a dominant guardian personality? Do I need vocal deterrence or silent territorial pressure? Great Pyrenees herd integrated guardian. Tibetan Mastiff, territory driven protector. Both are powerful, but they are not interchangeable. Choosing between these two based on size or intimidation is a big mistake. Choose based on environment. Choose based on herd structure. Choose based on temperament, compatibility, because livestock protection isn't about the biggest dog. It's about the right dog in the right system at the right time. And that alignment is what keeps goats safe. If you enjoyed this video or if you learned something new, make sure to subscribe, like, and comment. Thank you so much for watching.